This is Tracy from Hands to Work. Don't be shocked. This is a floss tube after more than a year. I had several people mention to me that they wish I'd put another video out, so here I am. Sorry it took so long. A lot of times I think, oh gosh, I really need to do one, but it would be late at night, or I'd be dripping sweat from walking the dog, or, whatever. When Chuck's home, I find it awkward to do them. I don't know why, because he thinks it's really cool that I do it, but I don't want him to hear me, even though I don't mind if he watches it. Silly. But so he's gone for the day, and I hope I can get through this before he makes it home. So we'll see how it goes. So a lot has happened in the last year, but I'm not going to give you a year's worth of dialogue. So I'll just tell you what's happened recently. And the most fun thing that happened was I was very lucky to be able to go to the country sampler retreat. And it was so much fun. It's the first time in ages that I've been able to do something needlework wise with other people that have the same love, talk the same talk, speak the same language in ages. And except for market, when I was in market in March, that was pretty awesome and a lot of fun to be able to spend time with shop owners and other designers. Although it's so rushed that you don't get to spend as much time as you think you should be able to, unless you go a day early and stay a day later, which I think I am going a day early next year, because I miss that interaction with especially designers, because it's so rushed and you have to stay, you have to be available for the shop owners, which is first and foremost. That's the most important thing. But anyway, the retreat was amazing. So much fun. I met some people, one person in particular whom I've known for nearly 20 years, which is Barb Lang. And she was part of a round robin with me and several other people. We did a chart makers round robin, and I've shown you the picture before. It's that big, that long, sampler with, land and sea is what I called it. And so she was one of the stitchers, but this was the first time we actually physically met, and she's so awesome. I had so much fun with her. She was at the retreat with a good friend of hers, Janet Thompson from Savannah, and then we hooked up with another Janet Cummins from, I want to say, near Houston, Texas, and we just were very compatible. We had a good time. We did some extra things together. We ate dinner together. And the most fun part was that the motel where I stayed, it's an older motel, and it's a little, it needs some TLC, but my room is clean. Watch out, Helen. And that's the most important thing. So it was fine, and I would stay there again. But we, and it just so happened that Barb and Janet were staying in the room right next to me, which we didn't know. It was total happenstance. So we would go out during the day, whether it was to classes or running around on our own to breakfast one morning. And then we'd come back, and there were wrought iron tables and chairs outside of our room. So we kind of pushed the chairs together, and we'd sit and talk and review the day and stitching and family and, all those things. We called the motel the Four Seasons. And so when we would sit outside, we would say we're sitting in the gardens at the Four Seasons. And there were some gardens there in front of the rooms and trees, so it was shady and a little breezy. It was very nice, comfortable to sit there, and it was relaxing at the end of the day. But the gardens needed a little TLC, and but there were but it was pretty. It was nice, but what made it so nice is being able to have friends right there. I kind of attached myself to them because I went by myself. I knew some people that were going, but I went 100% on my own and did not make any arrangements with anybody. I just went. And so with Barb and Janet staying in the room next door, and Barb had driven, so she had a nice SUV. And so the four of us would hop in the car and she would take us, and we went here, there, and yonder, and it was just fun. And I'm so appreciative that they let me crash their group because it was fun. And of course, during the retreat, we all, spent time with other people, went from table to table, got to see what other people were stitching on, and old friends, new friends, people that we know just from Instagram. And there are still people that were there that I know from Instagram, but I didn't get to meet. So probably my fault because I hang back just a little bit. But yeah, it was super fun. The staff at Country Sampler is unbelievable. The Jeannie shop is not huge. There's not a lot of square footage there, and she takes advantage of every bit that she has. But it doesn't take many people in there to get crowded, or maybe even a little too close. Well, when you get 100 stitchers together, you all know how it is. We all want our stuff and we want it now. So they're running around, 4 or 5 women in there are taking care of not only the shop, but the schoolhouse, which is right behind where they have classes, and they had fabric and charts and that trunk shows out there. And so these women were literally, and Jeannie is, she's running the retreat, so she's taking care of all the guests and making sure that the designers that are teaching are taken care of and taken out to eat and everything they need, and making sure the food's ready, and you know how that goes, on and on. So there's all these women in the shop, and they all want this little kit that goes with Paulette's design. And they had been making them up and getting them ready, and they ran out. They were still putting some together. And everyone gets up to the counter after waiting in line, and you get up there and they don't have yours ready yet. And everybody's tired. And so you would think that these women would have been so fed up with us, and maybe they were, I don't know, but they never showed it. They were so kind, so patient, so helpful, that no matter how many people were in there or how demanding anyone got, I don't really think people were demanding, but you know what I mean. They wanted their things and they were ready to check out, and depending on what was ready, what was available, and it just went so smoothly. I was amazed. So that is my first shout out to Jeannie and the shop. I've been there 2 other times, one as a retreat attendee, and then one time as I taught years and years ago. Kathy Barrick and I taught. Sorry, I thought I heard my husband coming in. So, and all, each time it was amazing and wonderful and fabulous, and I just can't say enough good things. Now, of course, she isn't the only shop that is like that. And I've been to several other shops, teaching or just attending retreats, that sort of thing, and they're all fantastic. So I don't want to just say that Jeannie's shop is the best, but being out there with that many women, they did a great job and made it even more fun. The meals were good. The company was great. It was just fun. Teachers were great. I mean, I don't think there's anything I would say that needed improving. I did have some interesting things happen to me, some little bookends of my trip. So on the way, I flew and I had no trouble. It was good flights and everything was fine. And that evening, when I first got there and I got my car, I was in Madison, and I stopped at J. Jill and Ann Taylor Loft because I thought, maybe I don't have enough to wear. It's so silly. Why do I do that? I tried really hard not to pack too much so I could bring things home, but still I thought maybe I needed more. So I stopped quickly and picked up a few things and then drove on into Spring Green, which is an hour, I guess. And so I checked in, and then I went, I don't know, a couple miles, very close to the shop. So I ran to the shop, and it was really crowded in there. There were a lot of people, and it was busy, and I was tired. I hadn't slept the night before and had been on the go since I think we left my house a little bit after 2 a.m. for me to get my flight. And so I was tired, and I didn't feel that I had the patience to really look. So I thought, well, that's fine. I'm tired. I'll just, I'll have more opportunities. Plus, I'm really not going to buy anything. I'm going to get my kits, and I'm going to be good. So, so I did just a quick, around, and then I left. I went up the road to the general store, and I got a bite to eat, and then I went back to my room. So I was there hanging out, unpacking, that sort of thing. And the longer the day went on, the cat is playing with tissue paper. The longer the day went on, a storm was brewing. And the trees, for like an hour, they're really blowing, and it's high wind and big gusts. And I thought, uh-oh. So then it started to rain, and then it started to rain harder, and then it's raining sideways, and there's some thunder and lightning, and then I heard a siren. And this wasn't like a fire station siren. I'd never heard one, but it was a tornado warning siren. So it was my first experience, and I thought, crap, what do I do? I've never experienced a tornado. We have some in the Shenandoah Valley, but not many. And because mostly we're protected, we have mountains on both sides. Unless the storms come north or south, and sometimes they'll get pretty wicked that way, but usually we have that buffer. So I'm thinking, this is a motel. It's one story. And there are big trees around, and if it gets bad, what am I going to do? So I turned on the news, and of course, the weather is always very dramatic, and it's all death and destruction. So, but it is true that there were some tornadoes, small tornadoes, that landed in the vicinity. So the county where I was, they were concerned that there would be tornadoes touching down. And so they told you what to do. So it said go to the most inner part of the location where you are and hunker down and maybe have something to put over you in case there's flying debris. So the innermost part of my room was in the bathroom and the shower. So the second or third time the siren goes off and it's really, really storming, I take 2 pillows and I go into the shower. So I'm very intimate with that shower. Huddled in the corner on the floor. I'm texting my family. I don't know what's going to happen. This is so crazy. So then the siren stops. And so I think, well, if the siren's not going off and I don't hear anything that sounds like a train, I'll probably be okay. So I'd go back out, watch some more TV. The siren would go off again. Into the bathroom I'd go. So I was probably in that shower 3 or 4 times. And then eventually the storm died down, and then it just rained softly and all was well. So the first thing I did the next morning was text my family, I'm still alive. But it was beautiful the next day. Perfectly blue sky, no branches, and you couldn't even really tell, other than there was still some standing water, that there had been this really bad storm, practically a tornado. And the weather the rest of the week was just fantastic. It blew all that heat and humidity out, and it was delightful. So that was my first experience with warning sirens like that. And it's kind of funny in retrospect, but at the time it was concerning. So anyway, it's all fine. So like I said, Barb and Janet were in the room right next to me. And then Janet Cummins was down the road some. So the next day, I kind of attached myself to the group and we all went to breakfast. We had this huge breakfast. It was called Grandma's Country Kitchen or something like that. But it was really good, classic breakfast food. Very, very good, but way more. Like each plate could have fed 3 people. But I got my coffee, so all was good. Then we went to this quilt store called JJ's Quilt Shop, maybe? Anyway, wow, what a fantastic, it's just quilting. And of course the fabric, I love the fabric. I love to collect fabric. I have lots and lots of fabric in case I need it. And I do use some, I just have way more than I need. And I have finished one quilt and I've appliqued the center to a quilt and started the blocks that go around it. That's what I've actually completed. But I have several quilt kits because of Jeannie Horton, who, you know, has amazing things. And so I'm prepared. I'm prepared to be that quilting person that is in there. It just hasn't come out yet. So of course I needed to buy a quilt kit. So the, let me find the pattern. It is gone. Anyway, it's a really cute, oh, here it is. And I don't really, it's hard to tell from the picture because I don't love the picture and I would have never purchased it from this picture. But the colors that they used for this quilt is, they're little, warm. They're ecru's and some browns, and there are some like brownie pinks and things like that. So this is the quilt kit, and these are the colors. And I like these much, much better. The only thing I'm not 100% on is this color, which is used for the border, and it's a pink. And I've had this in another quilt that I had. It's an older fabric, I think. And it's fine, and if I use it, it's fine, but it's not my favorite. So when I get to making this quilt, I think I'll switch this. I possibly will switch that out because I know I can find another print that is compatible to the other colors. So I got that. So this starts filling up my suitcase, my no checked baggage. So I'm gonna, you know, carry on. You don't have a lot of room, but I'm not gonna get anything else, so it'll be all right. So that evening, this is Thursday, we had the meet and greet type thing. There was finger food, charcuterie, that sort of thing, and introduction to the designers. And then, you know, everyone kind of gets together and chats. Some people were stitching. I mean, there's those hardcore stitchers that if they have a minute to sit down, they get their stitching out. And I can't do that because it's too distracting to me. I find it hard to stitch anywhere but home because I have to hear what's going on and I want to see what someone else is doing, and you know, all the talking, I don't get a lot, but there are some really devoted stitchers. So so that was fun, and we went back, sat out in the Four Seasons gardens and had our chats and that sort of thing. So the next morning, our first class was Brenda Gervais, and I know you have all seen the kits, so I'm not going to show them, but she had the nicest presentation, and she talked about how she came up with the design and what, you know, why those colors and why the words that helped her get to something that was significant to Spring Green and Jeannie's shop. And it's just, you know, her work, it's just beautiful. Her colors are always spot on. Her design is wonderful, and there's goodies in the box. It's just her box was beautiful. So everything was great, and that was very nice. And then we had breakfast, we had lunch, and then in the afternoon it was Linda. I can say her name, but I have to really work at it. And it's not that hard. It's just I've psyched myself up that I think I can't say it. But anyway, Chessie and me, she did the afternoon class, and she had a really, you know, she does Americana so well. And so she had a super nice design, and she had a free chart, and then there was a kit that came with that, and so it was really, really nice. So the first day was great, and we stayed there. The 4 of us stayed there to eat dinner because Friday night fish fry is a big thing in Wisconsin, apparently. To me, it's like fish and chips, but there it's fish fry. So we stayed so we could have fish fry, and it was very good. And then went back to the gardens. Friday, that was Friday. Saturday was Paulette in the morning, and her kit, of course, like everything Paulette does, was superb. The same as the rest, the colors, the kit, the everything. Everything was, and she's adorable and she's funny, and you know, she gave a nice presentation, and yeah, and it was great to see her. She's just one of my favorite people, and you know, we text each other. We don't get to see each other that often. We always talk about, you know, me driving to Pittsburgh or her driving to Virginia, and it just hasn't worked out yet. But anyway, it was great to see her and spend some time with her, and we had lunch, and then the afternoon was do what you want. So this might surprise you, but I did go back to the shop like 1 or 4 or 5 times, and I wasn't going to buy anything, but I did. So you know, it's amazing how you can get a small bag, and you know, I think, gosh, I've done, that's probably $50. And then she rings it up and it's like $175. And then I use my Discover card, and every time it goes through, then I get a text. You just spent, you know, this much money at Country Sampler, which I think is kind of rubbing your nose in it, but whatever, Discover. So yes, I did really spend more than I intended, and I had to be very creative with my packing when I came home. So I had the 2 boxes, I had the quilt kit, and then I had, this is the bag that they gave away that had some things in it, and let's see what I got. Let's look. So in here is, oh, this was a, let's see what that, oh, that's only $117, nothing. So this is another kit that Chessie and me did, and to see it in person, oh my goodness, so cute. And it has over 1, which is my favorite, and I love that fabric color. So it has all the threads and Country Sampler's traditional way of displaying things. Let's see, I got this chart of Paulette's that she's just released recently. What's it called? Live on Little, and I think it's so pretty, and I love the whales in the bottom and the sailboat. So pretty. So I got that one. This was, oh, I don't want to show you that side. This was an extra little kit that Paulette had made up for purchase that goes with her summer moon. And so it has that funky little rabbit, you know, the American flag, a tiny house. Super cute. So everything that you need came in there. So that was, and I think there was more things. I just didn't get them put in there. What's this? Oh, this is one of Brenda's new charts, so I got that. Oh, another big bag. So I got, there's a box that Linda's kit, the one I just showed you, can be mounted on, and it's super cute. Let me get this untied, because you know Jeannie always does such a nice presentation. So this is the box, and really nice little box, and then her design goes on the top. Let's see if it shows a picture. Kind of hard to see in the picture, but this design is sitting on top of the box. So there's a little pin pillow and then the scissor weight. So I got the box to go with that. I think I had to keep going back to the shop because I thought, oh, I forgot this, and then I have to get that, and I need the box, and I need, you know, the kit. And I got fabric, which I wasn't gonna buy fabric either. Couple fiber on a whim colors, and this one is actually a hunk. This is 40 count fat quarter. And this was a fat quarter, oops. And this is a Weeks Confederate Gray 46 count, which I love. What else? Oh, this sampler of Brenda's, she had the original antique there. And you know, pictures don't do the originals or the reproductions. They just don't do it justice. But this sampler was tiny. It was so tiny and so cute, and oh, I just adored it. And so I kind of think that I will probably stitch this over one because it's so sweet. I just love it. So I was excited to get that. So anyway, you know, money was spent, bags were packed. I made it home with everything, so all was well. You know, I think I got some more things. I don't know what I've done with them. Because I know that I got Brenda's little, her charts with the squirrels, because I love squirrels and I have squirrels in my backyard. My husband hates them because they can be very destructive. He calls them tree rats. But they're my friends and I feed them and I think they're adorable. So I don't pay attention to what he says. What I stitched on when I was there, this is what I took. I have a cat laying on top of things, helping. So I took the quality sampler, which is what I've been working on. In the evenings, I stitch after dinner, and I go upstairs, take a shower, and I love to stitch on my bed. So I've been working on this one, and I'm getting really close. I'm feeling excited about it. And I'm stitching this on 46 count something or other. So I did work on this a little bit while I was there. And then this one was in my bag. So this one is called, I never can remember names. It's called Mystery Sampler. What is it? Quality Sampler. A New Constellation. And I almost finished this one, except Paulette noticed that I hadn't finished the border. So she said, are you going to finish those X's? Yeah, probably. But I'm glad she noticed because I might not have, and then sent it to the framer and, you know. I love to do over one, and this is also on 46 count. I really don't mind it. And I don't mind doing the letters. I get into the groove and I just go. But on this one, for some reason, down here at the graveyard, Agnes, move on. Thank you. Sorry about that. Down here, there's over one stitching and over two stitching, and you kind of have to make it work. And I really struggled with that. And it just doesn't look that good. I mean, it's fine, and who cares? I mean, I don't care about stuff like that. I'm never going to put this in a competition. It's just for me. But I struggled, and I don't normally. So, and I struggled, I think it was up in here some too. I don't know why. But anyway, then she has one more, the original one that I've had for ages, and I think it's my favorite, the Heritage Sampler. And I need to stitch it, and then I'm going to have all three framed at the same time. So I don't know that I'll get matching frames, but I want them all to be the same size. So the best way to do that is send them all at the same time. So I took those. I did have a new start while I was there, and this is Paulette's retreat design, Summer Moon, and I love it. And so she included 36 count linen, and so I'm stitching that over one. And I know it's really hard to get the scale of this on the camera, but it's going to be really tiny, and I just love it. So this is what I've gotten done. I stitch on it nearly every day, and it's slow going, of course. Over one is very slow and sometimes tedious. And this one will be more so because there's a lot of solid fill. And I think when you get more of the motifs, it goes a little faster, but when this house is going to be a killer. But someday I will get it done. I do enjoy over one, and it's definitely slow stitching. It's not something, well, probably some people can whip it out in no time, but I do not. But I really love it. I love the way it looks. And so I brought out three things that I've stitched over one to show you. And I have more, but they were just handy, so I grabbed them. And the bad thing is that I'm terrible remembering names, so I can't even remember the designer of this. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't get it. But this is an old one, 2003, and I stitched this over one. And isn't it so cute? Over dyed threads, I believe. Yeah, over dyed threads. So cute. You can see I've had this, the frame is, I need to fix those spots. It's been knocked around. Everything has a hard life in my house. So there's that one. So sweet and tiny. This one is an old Kathy Barrick design. And I don't think it's a reproduction. I think it's an original design. And this one was also done about the same time. And I put it in a big chunky frame, which I love. So when you see it this way, you can see how small the sampler is compared to the frame. It's probably a little bigger than the palm of my hand. And it's stitched on 32 count black Lugana, I think. And it's so pretty. I love the colors on black. I think it's magnificent. Love it. And then maybe one of my most favorite over one things that I've done is Paulette's, what was this called? A Merry Heart, or I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, it has that adorable fox in there, the pomegranates. I love this design. And I did this one over one. And I'm not sure if I did this one on 32 or 36. I can't remember. But like all of Paulette's designs, the colors are spot on. The design is amazing. I just love it. And then it too has kind of a chunky frame on it. I like big frames. So there's that. So those were the, one more thing I'm going to show you over one. I've got to put something behind it so you can see it. Okay. So you all know this design. This is an oldie, but a goodie. And they send, and this is 32 count black Lugana over one. And that's as far as I got. And I can't remember why I stopped. It's hard to say. At that time when I was stitching, I would start something new all the time. So I did that for a long time because the thrill of starting something new is just sometimes too good to pass up. And that's what I used to do. But I don't do that anymore because I got tired of never having anything finished. It was a little compulsive behavior, I think. Just wanted to start all the things. So the other thing about this, and actually I think now that I'm looking at it, I like it better than I had before, but the colors on this are not my favorite. And I've thought about starting it again and changing up the colors. I don't know what I'll do, but I definitely will not use this Kay's Creation frame because I don't like using it. This is the only thing that's ever been on it. I found it very uncomfortable to stitch on it, and I would love to give it to someone who would use it because it's collecting dust at my house and it's a waste. So one of these days I'm going to find someone who would love to have it and pass it on to a good home. So those are some of my over one things that I've stitched and things that I love. And as long as I can do it, I'm going to continue stitching over one. The other thing that I got before I went to Spring Green, and some of you are probably very familiar with things like this. It's a daylight, what's it called? Folding up something. What's it say on here? I don't know. But Jeannie was advertising these, that we could get them. And I wasn't sure because normally I don't use a light at a table. I get enough daylight or whatever. But I thought maybe I needed it. I'm getting older. And So I just on a whim one night looked online and got it from some random quilt shop. Probably saved $20 free shipping. So that's why I just ordered it from them. But it's a daylight lamp, which we know is quality. And then it doesn't have a magnifier, which is fine with me because I don't use them. So you can use it like this, or you can use it like this and it expands. It was around $100, which I think is pricey for a little light, but we know it's, you know, daylight. It's a good light. So I got that and I took it and I used it and I was very, very happy with it. So I'm glad that I invested in it because I know it will last a long time. The floor lamp daylight light that I used for almost 20 years recently, earlier this spring, died, and so I ordered a new one, and the old one was just the bare bones. It was in bad shape. It still worked, but then it finally died, and so I got a new one, and it's wonderful. It has a lot of different settings. I like that the cord comes out of the back without having to unplug the cord, which makes it easy to move in and out. We run a robot, like a Roomba, in my bedroom because I have wood floors that are painted white with green, light green squares on them because I have a lab shed, and Helen is especially this time of year, she's blowing her winter coat and the hair is unbelievable. So it runs every morning. His name is Venom, my grandson helped name him. And he runs every morning, and it really keeps the dog hair under control. So I can just pop that cord out of the back and move it out of the room so I get more floor space swept, and it's really handy. So I love my new light. Can't ever go wrong with daylight. What else? Across the street from Jeannie's shop is a little bookstore that was so wonderful. They had food in there, but I didn't really look at what they had. I know they had food and drinks like hot tea and coffee and I don't know what else. And I'm not sure what kind of food, but it was just such a sweet little bookstore. Brick and mortar stores, other than the giant bookstores, are hard to find anymore. And so I thought, well, I'll go in. I don't usually read paper books because I listen to Audible, and that way I can still do stuff and listen to a book. But I bought 2 books, and one of them is called Sweetness of Water. And it's a new book, and it was in Oprah's book club last year. I've never been a big fan of Oprah's choices because I find them to be very dark. And while I appreciate a good story about life's hardships, that can't just be everyone had a really hard life and then they died. I know that happens sometimes. I just don't want to read about it. So I've barely started, but so far it's really good. It's set in rural Georgia at the end of the Civil War. So I need to set aside some time so I can sit down and read it. It's just when you read a book, you can't do anything else. So that's that. Okay. So then the other bookend to my trip was when I flew back home. I left really early, like I had on the way out, and went from Madison to Chicago. When I was in Chicago, I was going down the escalator. I think it was to get on a tram to go to my terminal. I can't remember, but so I was on an escalator, and you know how the steps, they have teeth as as it goes up or down, and they go together. Well, those metal teeth from each step, I guess I had my foot too far back on that step. And so one of those teeth got a hold of my heel. I had Birkenstocks on, and it ripped up the back of my heel. And so I had this big triangle cut out of the back of my foot. It didn't really hurt. It was kind of shocking. And I I turned around and looked at my heel, and it was big piece of skin. And bleeding, and I was really concerned. It was pooling down in my sandal, and I was worried I was going to get it on the floor. And so I tried to find a first aid station, and I could not find one. I would think, as big of an airport as O'Hare is, that there would have been a first aid station somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I asked a flight attendant that was in the restroom ahead of me if she knew where to go, and she said, I don't even think they have one. She said to ask the flight attendant on my flight. So I did. I told her when I went in, and she said, well, get everyone seated and then I'll see what I can find. So her first aid kit was essentially a Ziploc bag that had a few Band-Aids, a few wipes, and that might have been all that was in it. That was their first aid kit. So that was a little surprising, but whatever. Because I was really concerned about my foot getting infected. I had a tetanus shot a few years ago, so I know I was okay that way, but I'm sure that escalator was very dirty. So I just wanted to get it cleaned up. I mean, I couldn't even find paper towels, and all the lines at the restaurants and food stalls were so long, I couldn't even wipe it up. So in the bathrooms, they just have the hand dryers. Anyway, so she gave me some antiseptic wipes and some Band-Aids, and I got it cleaned up, and I got the Band-Aids on there, and all was well. I was in the middle of 3 seats, 2 young guys sitting on either side of me, and the grandma in the middle, and I was all squished in there and trying not to gross them out with my bloody foot and keep things contained, and it's so close. But I got it taken care of, and it was all good. Got home fine. Chuck picked me up and got home about 1:30. It was great. Or 12:30, something like that. It was just a great 4 days, much needed escape, I think, from just get away from things. And I was glad to be home, but it was fun to go. So I'm really thankful I got to go. Let's see what else. In home news, we've been sitting out on our screen porch a lot. It's so beautiful. We had some really, really hot weather, and then this week it's been nice. We had a lot of rain and cloudy days, and it's been low humidity and mild days, and so we've enjoyed sitting out there, especially in the mornings. We go out and drink our coffee and work the puzzles and chat. Chuck reads the opinion page to me, and then we have long discussions about politics, religion, family, the whole thing. But I enjoy that. And then we eat dinner out there, and I'm trying to talk Chuck into putting a TV out there. Not that we watch TV all the time, but we like to watch baseball in the evenings. And because we watch baseball, we have to come inside. And I'd really like to be able to sit out on the porch and watch baseball, but we'll have to figure out how, because we need Wi-Fi and it doesn't extend out onto the porch, how to make that work. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to have someone help me, and then, to get it mounted on the wall. But so we've been doing that. Helen had surgery earlier this week, and she had 2 tumors. Maybe it was last week. I think it was last week. Sorry, I've lost track of time. She has tons of fatty tumors, which I think is not uncommon for labs, but hers have always been really big, like this. And she's had 2 removed because they were so big, they were obstructing her organs, the one under her stomach, and then she had one on her back that was becoming uncomfortable just because of its size. There was nothing wrong with it. Well, she had 2 weird looking things that popped up quickly on her back. And we debated about whether or not to get anything done with them. She's 13, so we're not going to any extreme measures for her. We just want to keep her healthy and happy until, as long as we can. But then they both broke open and were bleeding. And I know that's gross. I apologize. But when that happened and the vet said, even when they dry up and close up, it can happen again. And she may even get more of those. So we had those taken out. So she has one, 2 incisions, one on each side, and one has staples. She gets all that taken care of next week, gets them out. But she's been fine through it. Didn't seem, except for the first day when she was loopy from the meds. But she's been a little anxious. And the day when she had her surgery, we were keeping Jovi, the Great Dane, that week. And because Helen came home and wasn't quite herself, Jovi was worried to death that Helen was gone. And then Helen was kind of anxious, and she's been itchy, but I think her itchiness comes from her anxiety, and all that rubbed off on Jovi. And so Jovi was anxious. And so between the two of them all week, I was ready for Jovi to go home. And she's such a good girl, but she's slobbery, and she was extra slobbery. So we're still finding places that we have to clean up. But anyway, Helen's doing great. We did not send the tissue to the lab because it doesn't matter. We're not, like I said, we're not going to do anything extreme. We just want her to be comfortable and happy, and, keep her as long as we can. Then Agnes had, I think I've talked to you before about, some of these episodes that she has when she's just absolutely awful. The spawn of Satan is what I call her when she acts like this. And for some reason the other day, for no reason that we could figure out, she just lost her mind. And so she was attacking us. She was attacking the dog. We threw her outside for most of the day, which we don't normally do. She stays on the porch or inside, but she was so awful, we couldn't. And Helen was so upset because she never fights back. She just takes it. And so she was all upset. And I told Chuck, this is like the 3rd time, and if it's going to happen more and more often, we're going to have to probably do something for real, except that we can't get her in anything to take her to the vet. So I don't know. And then yesterday morning, everything was fine. She's just been lovely. So, so that's, the continuing saga of Agnes. There's always something with her. But she spends most of her days on the porch when the weather's nice. We have all kinds of birds, rabbits, squirrels, and chipmunks that come underneath the bird feeder. And so I tell Chuck I'm Cinderella because I've got, all the birds, and I'm sure they're all my friends. But Agnes, makes her day when the chipmunk or a little bird or something gets on our patio right by our porch. And oh my goodness, she excuse me, she loves that. Gotta get a drink. Anyway, I think I've rattled on enough. I just wanted to make an appearance and say hello to everyone, kind of catch up. I'm working on some designs. Oh, I wanted to show you this. I'm not going to show you the whole sampler, but excuse me. This came recently, and so I'm going to chart it. I have a sampler right now that's being stitched, a little sampler, so cute. But what I wanted to show you, this is the back, and I wanted to show you the color of the house. I'm so excited about it. I just love this sampler. Sorry. So that came last week, and I get a lot of them from Cockleheart on eBay. Vicky, she's so sweet, and her customer service is fabulous. But I told her I was putting myself, I was not even going to look at what she has, because I've gotten a lot of samplers this year, and I've got to cut it off because, you can only get so many done, and yeah. So that's the last one I'm going to get for a while. I have several, and I have a lot to chart, but I do love to get them. They're so pretty. And I'm working on another design that I'm very excited about. I will say that going to Country Sampler helped me get out of my little funk with being creative. I mean, the well was dry. And since I've come home, it's really helped. I've had several ideas. I've been working on some things. I had a lot of things started that kind of just it just wasn't it. And so I'm going back to some of those, and so I'll be releasing some things. I wish that I was able to participate in the online market that will come up the end of August. Unfortunately, that the day it starts is the day we leave for vacation. And I will be on the road the first day. After that, I could do it at our vacation house, but I think that first day would make it difficult unless I found someone else to man the booth for me. So I won't be doing that this year unless something changes. I don't think I'll be able to do it. So we'll see how that goes. And I have some other things in the fire that will be coming up later this year. So anyway, my husband just got home, so I'm going to need to go and talk to him, see how the day went. And thanks for joining me. We will talk again soon, and I hope you have a great weekend. See ya. Bye.